So I just got a PS5, and there are a couple of reasons behind this. One of the main ones is that the new PS VR 2 is coming out and I want to be able to test it on my channel, and I need a PS5 to be able to do that. But also it's just a great console and there's loads of hype around it, so I wanted to sort of just get my hands on it and see it. And yes, I know it's a bit late. I've always been an Xbox guy, honestly, but oh my word, how good is the PS5. Let's just rewind and go a little bit over my gaming history a bit. I've not had total brand allegiance my whole life. When I was a young lad, my first console was the PS1. Well, it was a family console. I remember it quite vividly, playing games like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro and what's that, Harry Potter Philosopher's Stone game. That gave me nightmares. And then we got the PlayStation 2, and I spent hours and days and weeks and years just spending my life on that machine. I loved that console, and I played so many awesome games on there when I was younger. Now, when the Gen 3 consoles came out, I was in secondary school, or high school if you're in the US, and I had a bit of a decision to make because I was choosing my own console at that time, and I had to choose whether I got a PS3 or an Xbox 360. And ultimately, based on what I'd had before and the fact that all of my friends had got an Xbox, I went for the Xbox. I went for the Xbox 360, and it wasn't a bad decision. I mean, at the time there were some great games on there. You have Halo and everything like that, and that's basically what I played. I played that, the Call of Duty games, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare. I played things like Assassin's Creed and stuff like that, and I spent a long time. I mean, probably the majority of my gaming life was after school, coming home, playing on the 360, and yeah, literally loved it, playing with my friends on Xbox Live. What a time to be alive. And that's pretty much how it continued up until now. I mean, I had the Xbox One S, was it, after that? And then I've had the Xbox Series S. So since having the PS2, I've only really had Xbox, and that's been my main sort of gaming experience. I mean, even to the degree that if I went round my friend's house and he had a PlayStation and we played on the PlayStation, it would just feel weird, like the controller layout just felt wrong to me, and I just couldn't get my head around it because I was used to the Xbox controller. And that being said, as much as I loved my Xbox, and I always have done, and I've always would have chosen the Xbox over the PlayStation, I was a little bit jealous of some of the PlayStation exclusive games, things like Uncharted and The Last of Us, SpiderMan, for example. Anyway, fast forward to today, I now have a PS5, and I have to say, I am massively impressed with it. This thing has been out for a while, and I know loads about it because obviously it's been out for so long, even though most people have been struggling to get one. But despite that, I mean, it's blowing me away every time I switch it on. And it's not my first of this generation console. I mean, it's definitely an upgrade from the Series S Xbox. But first of all, the first thing about it is the controller. Oh my word, the DualSense controller is the best controller I've ever used. Now, the PS5 comes with this little robot game, I think it's called Astro Playroom or something like that, and it basically goes through all of the capabilities of your controller, and it's quite a fun little game as well. I wouldn't skip it if you were getting a PS5 for the first time. I would definitely play it, and if you are a PS person, a PlayStation person, it goes through all of the history of the PlayStation devices, so it's quite a cool little game. But yeah, I mean, it sort of goes through some of the things with the controller, the motion sensors, the vibration, the sort of haptics that you get. Just everything about the controller just feels really high quality. And not only that, the fact that the layout on this controller doesn't even bother me, even though it's the same PlayStation layout. I think it's because it's a bit bigger and it's a bit chunkier. It sort of feels a bit closer to what I'm used to with the Xbox, but it is still that layout, but it just doesn't seem to be a huge issue for me. Next is the menu and the UI. I mean, maybe it's just because I've had Xbox for so long, but I'm really tired of the sort of flat, square look that you get with Xbox. Again, it's probably because it's just been the same. I mean, they updated it on the Xbox 360 ages ago. I think it's been sort of a similar design ever since. Just that sort of squares and grids everywhere. Very Windows, Microsoft-esque, and I'm just not a massive fan. Now, I switched the PlayStation on, and as much as this is still a very similar vibe from PlayStations from years and years ago, it felt like such a breath of fresh air switching it on. And it might just be because I've not been with it, but even things from like how simple the display looks when you're on the homepage and you're going between games, the fact that it just plays a bit of nice music on the background depending on what you're looking at, and you're not just seeing ads constantly on the screen. I think that's definitely a positive, I'll be honest. Now, I'm definitely not a pro with how to use the UI, and I know I'm going to need to get used to it because I'm just not that used to it at the moment, but it does seem fairly simple and intuitive, which I'm quite happy about. Now, gaming wise, I do have a little bit to catch up on. I mean, I've been an Xbox boy, a Forza fan, a Master Chief, if you will, but I've not played Last of Us, Uncharted, God of War. Like, where do I start? Now, the PS5 I actually got was the God of War bundle. It comes with God of War Ragnarok, which is the sequel to God of War, which is a bit of an odd one, I think, coming out with a sequel as part of the bundle for someone getting the new console. But I guess if you're just upgrading from the PS4, it makes sense. Now, as much as I just want to get in and play the sort of PlayStation exclusive, look how good this game looks because it's a PlayStation 5 game, I didn't want to just jump into a story halfway through, so I wanted to play God of War first. Luckily, with PlayStation, you can get something called PlayStation Plus. Now, PlayStation Plus is essentially Game Pass for the Xbox, and it's very new. They've got a bunch of games on it. It's almost like a carbon copy, just loads of games that you probably never would play, a few bangers, a few hits that you definitely would play. So for example, it's got both of the SpiderMan games on there. It's got things like God of War, for example. So I signed up to that. I've started playing God of War. I'm having a great time, and that's just the original PS4 version. Obviously, it's not the original God of War, it's the reboot, but you know what I mean. Now, as much as I'm also playing the PS4 version of Spider-Man, I did boot up the Miles Morales version on PS5, the PS5 version of it, and I have to say, this console looks fantastic. It's got ray tracing in it, and if you have a decent TV, so I've got an LG mini LED TV, and I'll be honest, it just looks absolutely fantastic. It's so good. Because it's mini LED as well, you get really good HDR coverage, so HDR looks really banging on this TV, and with this console it just looks awesome. So if you are going to be getting a PS5, you want it to look as good as possible, and you want a TV to match it, so I would recommend getting a decent high-end TV if you're going to be getting this console. Otherwise, what's the point, you know? So with the PlayStation 5, I can play God of War, I can play both the Spider-Man games. In fact, I can even play the Lego Movie The Game. I mean, come on, who wouldn't want to? Safe to say the PS5 is a phenomenal machine, and it looks fantastic, and it plays brilliantly. I am really excited for the PlayStation VR 2. I'm going to be doing videos as soon as I get my hands on it, so do subscribe to the channel if you want to see those. But at the moment, my PlayStation journey's just started, kind of, and I'm very excited for it. If you guys have got any sort of games you recommend that I play, any story type games or stuff like that you think would be good and would be great for me to sort of get into PlayStation, do let me know, stick them in the comments. Also, if you've got any tips and tricks and stuff like that, stick it down below, because I don't know what I'm doing and I kind of need help, and I would much rather other people tell me what to do than me just work out myself, because I'm lazy. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Whoop!